Amiga, do you ever feel caught between two worlds? You cherish your cultural background, but sometimes it clashes with the realities of raising a family in modern America. You might feel pressured to fulfill traditional expectations, yet you crave a life that allows you to be your true, authentic self. If you're a Latina mom nodding your head right now, I see you, and I get it. Balanced Madrehood is more than your average mommy coaching program. It's a supportive comunidad designed specifically for you. I understand the unique challenges you face navigating between generations and culturas while forging your own path as a mama. Stop feeling like you have to choose between your roots and your future. Balanced Motherhood empowers you to create a life that celebrates your heritage, embraces your motherhood journey, and prioritizes your own happiness. Spots are limited. Don't miss out on this opportunity to connect with a supportive community and create a more balanced life. Visit the link in the show notes to join the waitlist for the next Balanced Motherhood cohort. I can't wait to meet you. Hola, hola, amiga. Today we're continuing our special series on creating a more balanced motherhood experience. This is our 5th episode of our special 8-episode Balanced Motherhood series, and I'm excited that you're here. I'm currently recording at mi abuelito's house in Mexico. I'm on their balcony and just looking at this view and enjoying a good time here in Mexico. But in our previous episodes, we've talked about reclaiming our time, why self-care isn't selfish, and reconnecting with our passions beyond motherhood. And so today we're diving into what might be the most challenging topic yet, and that is setting boundaries with your familia. Now, I know just saying the words boundaries and familia in the same sentence might make some of you feel uncomfortable. But after all, for many of us, family is everything. It's our support system, it's our comunidad, and our foundation. But here's the truth, though. Having strong, loving boundaries is actually one of the best ways to protect and nurture those precious relationships. And so in today's quick but powerful episode, we're going to talk about why boundaries are so challenging for us as mamas, what healthy boundaries actually look like, and how to set them without the guilt that so often comes along for the ride. But before we dive in, I want to remind you that in the show notes, there are 2 links. One, where you can suggest different topics like these, or any topic that you want me to talk about. And I also have another link on proposing a guest, or if you know of a potential guest that could benefit in being on the show, feel free to share their information as well. I think that it's so important to share our stories and for people to share their expertise. And that way, mama, your motherhood journey can be better informed. And that way you can create the best version of this wonderful and oftentimes chaotic journey of ours. And I also want to remind you to please rate and review the show. It's so important for me to receive feedback and what you think of this show, so that way people can find Viva la Mami, and that way Latina moms don't feel in isolation as it relates to their motherhood journey. So don't forget to rate and review if you are listening through Apple Podcasts. Otherwise, you can also rate this show on Spotify. And know that I'm here to build this community for you, for us, because it is needed. All right, let's dive into the episode. Welcome to the Viva la Mami podcast. I am your host, Jessica Cuevas. I am a mother of 2 on a mission to help redefine the meaning of motherhood as a modern Latina mom. Motherhood can be a complex journey, interwoven in 2 identities that often make us feel ni de aquí, ni de allá. Viva la Mami is committed to providing you with knowledge, tools, and support to navigate the challenges and triumphs of motherhood as Latina moms. On the show, we'll be discussing culturally relevant topics that will help inform and empower you in whichever season you are in on your motherhood journey. We'll be joined by Latina moms, experts and professionals who can offer advice, practical tips, relatable stories, and honest conversations. So bring your cafecito as I invite you to be a part of this space as we create comunidad about the exciting and challenging parts of being a mommy. Ahora, vámonos. As mamás juggling careers, households, and relationships, we're often praised for being available to everyone at all times. Y como dice el dicho, ella lo puede hacer, as if constant accessibility is the ultimate badge of honor. But meanwhile, we're drowning in obligations, saying yes to things we don't have the capacity for, and feeling resentful when our own needs go unmet. We smile and nod when a family member drops by unannounced, or we agree to host another holiday gathering even though we're exhausted. And this is especially true for many of us as Latina moms. We've often been raised with the message that family comes first, and that saying no to a family member is disrespectful or selfish. Add to that the modern pressures of being constantly available through text and social media, and it's a perfect storm for boundary burnout. Without boundaries, we can't fully show up for the people we love. When we're stretched too thin, resentment builds, and our relationships actually suffer. This is something we talk about extensively in Balanced Motherhood. So many moms join this program feeling completely overwhelmed by family expectations and obligations, and they're unsure how to create space for themselves without disappointing the people they love. By the end of our work together, they've learned that boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to healthier and more sustainable relationships. So, what do healthy boundaries actually look like in family relationships? Well, let me give you some examples. Time boundaries might look like having set working hours that family respects, or designating certain evenings as family time and others as personal time. Communication boundaries could include not answering phone calls during dinner, setting expectations about how quickly you'll respond to text, or requesting that certain topics remain private. Emotional boundaries involve not taking responsibility for others' feelings or problems and recognizing where your emotional responsibilities end and others begin. Physical boundaries might include respecting personal space, sleep schedules, or even how much physical affection you're comfortable with. Parenting boundaries are about being clear on your role versus your abuelitas or other relatives' roles in raising children. Financial boundaries involve clarity around lending money, gift expectations, or shared expenses. And so the key thing to understand is that healthy boundaries aren't about rejection or separation. They're about clarifying expectations, communicating your needs, and creating structures that allow relationships to thrive without depleting you. And in Balanced Motherhood, we work with moms to identify which boundaries they need most in this season of life and create personalized strategies for implementing them in ways that honor their family relationships while protecting their well being. If boundaries are so beneficial, why do we find them so challenging to establish? Well, let me share the three biggest barriers I see for mamas in our community. First, there's the guilt factor. That feeling in your stomach when you tell your mom you can't host Sunday dinner this week, or when you decline a family gathering to meet a work deadline. Many of us have internalized the belief that family should always come first, no matter the personal cost. I remember the first time I told my mommy I couldn't make it to a family event because I needed a day to recharge. The guilt was almost physical. And then second, there's the fear of being misunderstood. You're not setting boundaries because you love your family any less. It's quite the opposite. But there's always that worry that they'll take it personally. Will your siblings think you're being too American or too professional when you explain you need uninterrupted work time? Will your suegra think you don't want her help with the baby when you ask for more notice before visits? Third, there's the lack of examples or models. Many of us didn't grow up seeing healthy boundaries demonstrated. Think about it. Did you ever see your mama tell your abuelita she needed space? Or your tias protecting their personal time? Without these models, we're essentially creating a new playbook for our families. In Balanced Motherhood, we address each of these obstacles with practical strategies tailored to your specific family dynamics. And let me share 3 practical strategies for setting boundaries with family that I've found most effective for mamas I work with. Well, first, we can use the sandwich method when communicating boundaries. Start with appreciation, state your boundary clearly, and then end with reassurance. Let's give the example of the notorious abuelita giving candy to your kids. All right. So let's go with, Mommy, I love how involved you are with the kids. And that's an appreciation. Pero I need you to check with me before giving them sweets, especially before dinner. That's a clear boundary. It means so much to them to have an abuelita who cares about them so deeply. Reassurance. This approach honors the relationship while still protecting your needs. The second strategy is to create systems that do the boundary setting for you. If unexpected video calls come from family that may disrupt your workday, set a specific virtual visiting hours, like 7 to 8 p.m. on weeknights when you're consistently available. Share the schedule with your familia and tell them the truth that you're busy during the day. Then you can use your phone's focus or do not disturb settings during work hours. This way, the system maintains the boundary, not you personally each time. The third strategy is to start with boundaries around your children, which are often easier to enforce than boundaries for yourself. So most of us find it easier to say, Lo siento, but the baby needs her nap at that time, than I need some time alone. So once you get comfortable setting boundaries to protect your children's routines and well being, you can gradually extend the same protection for yourself. And so in Balanced Motherhood, we create individualized boundary strategies for your specific family situation with scripts and role playing practice for those challenging conversations that I know many of us are very uncomfortable with. If you take just one thing from today's episode, let it be this. Choose one simple boundary to implement this week. Maybe it's deciding not to answer work emails after 6 p.m., or asking family members to text before dropping by, or communicating to your partner that Sunday afternoons are your dedicated self-care time. Whatever boundary you choose, make it specific, communicate it clearly, and commit to maintaining it consistently. Notice how it feels to honor this limit, not just in terms of the practical benefits, but also how it affects your sense of self respect and personal self agency. This single boundary might seem small, but it is so powerful. And it is the first step toward a more balanced life where you can show up fully for your familia because you're also showing up for yourself. And so, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you that setting boundaries with your family isn't about creating a distance between them. It's about creating sustainable relationships that can thrive in the long term. When you honor your own needs and limits, you're modeling healthier behaviors for your children and creating a family culture where everyone's well being matters, including yours. And I'm sure that that is the ultimate goal for you. So if today's episode resonated a lot with you and you're trying to create more balanced family dynamics without the mom guilt, I invite you to join the waitlist for Balanced Madrehood. This 3-month coaching program is specifically designed for Latina moms who want to honor their family connections while also honoring themselves. In Balanced Motherhood, we're going to work together to identify the boundaries you need most, create strategies for communicating them effectively, and build a supportive community of like-minded mamas who understand your unique challenges. To join the waitlist, visit vivalamami.com/balanced motherhood. That is balanced with a D at the end, -motherhood. And you'll be the first to know when doors open for enrollment. And doors will open up real soon. In next week's episode, we're going to explore how to bridge the gap between cultural traditions and modern parenting approaches, another key aspect of creating a balanced motherhood experience. Pero until then, remember, loving your familia doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. True family love has room for everyone's needs, including yours. All right, amiga. Well, thank you so much for listening. Hasta la próxima y nos vemos in the next episode. Mujer, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to the Viva la Mami podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, will you do me a favor and follow the podcast and leave a rating and review? Hitting that follow button and reviewing my show will allow other mommies like you find this podcast. Your review will also tell me if you enjoy the show, so I would truly appreciate your thoughts. Don't forget, please share this podcast con tus amigas. Also, make sure to follow me at Viva la Mami on Instagram or visit vivalamami.com. Please note the information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. Okay, mujer, thank you for joining y nos vemos in the next episode.